guys and ghouls, for checking out today's Going Deeper. I'm your host, Matt. I've got a great show playing for you tonight. You'll know my next guest from her appearances on such websites as MyFreeCams and manyvids.com. You can find links to all of her social media in the episode description below, but I really want to recommend you check out her MyFreeCams account at DahliaIsDopey. Also, her OnlyFans at DahliaIsDopey. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the very sexy, the delicious DahliaIsDopey. Dahlia, how are you tonight?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I am good. So we are recording this, breaking the fourth wall. We're recording this a little earlier than Halloween, but I know the fans don't care about this. Maybe you'll be excited for me. If you are listening to this on Halloween, am currently in my number one Halloween place that I travel to with my wife every year. Can you guess where that is?
Is it Salem?
Of course it is. Yes, it is. Every year. Last 8 or 9 years, we've gone to Salem. 1 year out for COVID. I think we went to New York. But I want to jump into your career. I want to jump into your interests. I want to play some games with you. But I really wanted to have you on for the horror one because I love a lot of the cosplay stuff you do. It seems like you have so much fun with it, but it's also some of the most professional looking stuff I've ever seen. So let's talk about that at some point, but let me ask you, what is your entrance into the adult entertainment industry? What field was it? Did you strip first? Did you cam first? Did you do this first? What did you do? How did you initially decide to go yep, this is the route I'm going to take. I'm good looking. I'm gorgeous. I'm a hard worker. Let me go into this.
I went straight into camming. I have stuck around for camming. I made a little content after a few years, but I had a friend who was camming and she was like, this is fun and interesting. And I was like, I can wear costumes and do silly things. Okay.
And when you initially started out, so talk me through when you first start camming. Did you have a plan established, or did your friend help you establish plans? Or was it really just popping on and, hey, everybody, here I am,
Yeah, it was popping on and everybody, here I am. I would try and come up with plans and try and come up with ideas of planned out ideas and stuff, but I found that it worked a little bit better when I did it.
Sure. Have you always been sexually adventurous at all? Or so many interviews I do where there are girls where I talk to them and they're like, I always ask, were you sexually adventurous? And it always starts one of two ways, obviously, either yes or no. Stupid thing to say there from me. But the ones that are no really surprise me, where it's oh, how did you get that courage then? And then what did it feel like the first time you did something for you, it would be camming in the sex industry? Was it nerve-wracking or?
It was super nerve-wracking. I had really low self-esteem at the time. I couldn't really see my physical worth towards anything. And then I got on cam and I found out that there's going to be 100 guys that like you for whatever you look like.
That's what I love about the porn industry in general. There's a kink, there's a niche for anyone. Even somebody who may not think they're attractive, which is crazy that you ever considered that, unless you were a real bad burn victim before, and I don't know that, and you were yeah, I had 25 grafts on my face to look like this. I go, okay, good work. But I so many women who start up with that, it seems like there's not necessarily a formula. Now, obviously, if you're supermodel look, you'll probably get more initial views. But I think anyone can build an audience if you're professional about it and you work the room. Is that really the theory behind a camming type situation?
That's exactly how I feel about camming. Okay. I believe firmly that if you get online and you work hard, it'll take time to sift through these people. And you're going to have a lot of negativity and things that you have to deal with, no matter how popular or unpopular you are at the time. But you'll find them. They're there.
So Can you take me through, like, okay, how long have you been on My Free Cams?
So I have been on My Free Cams probably like 12 years, but I've been camming now 15, going on 16 years.
Where was camming? I mean, this is I'm 36, so I'm not like some spring chicken. Like there was a time before the computer. But where was camming before My Free Cams?
For me, it was a site called Streamate.
Okay.
Which still exists. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It's not on the top of my go-to list. They pay out like 35% of what you make. So for me, it's about money. And I feel like for most people joining this industry, it's about the money, at least to a certain extent. You know, we all want to make as much money as we can. Nobody's going into this saying, you know what, I think I'll pass up on the paychecks.
Sure. Well, I agree with you 1,000%. And obviously this is a job and it should be respected as a job, as always. Like I say, every episode, like, it's so funny. The consensus in, like, you know, Twitter land and Reddit and this and that is, hot girl, lazy, just wants to go shoot a scene and do porn and then go home. Yeah, you're forgetting the X amount of hours on set, then the 12 hours on social media updating everything, and if it's their own content, the editing, the marketing behind it, all of that shit. It's one of the hardest jobs, I feel like, that I've seen as far as online goes, because then there's also avoiding all of the algorithms that are going to shadow ban you and kick you off and all that shit, right?
I actually recently had to go through that, and little tip for people trying to get unshadow banned on Twitter. Don't use your Twitter for 4 weeks. You can like a few things here and there, but if you just stop using Twitter for about 4 weeks, it'll unshadow ban you. Now, if you start linking to porn sites again and posting, you know, nudes, it's going to shadow ban you again. But if you want to, you can get around the algorithm a little bit. I just found this out. So I'm like, share with everybody. That's
going to be a clip. Like, yeah, I mean, everyone I talk, I joke that I get an OCD erection every time a girl has matching social media names. Because it just makes everything easier. Cause every girl I interview is like, you can find her at DahliaIsDopey here, DahliaIsDopey here, DahliaIsDopey 3456 over here, DahliaIsDopey 2946 on this site. So it's a bummer. Like, look, I understand we have to have some level of standards, especially if kids are allowed on the site. Like, I interviewed a girl one time. She said, I got kicked off live. I was like, oh my God, why'd they kick you off? Well, I was nude and I was shoving a double dildo down my throat. And I go, oh, yeah, maybe that one. That was on Instagram Live too. So, yeah. So again, camming to me, it's a not a strange thing in a bad way. It's like a totally different beast than the conversations I'm used to having with performers. A lot of them start in cam or go elsewhere or have tried cam, and some of the like biggest girls in the porn industry told me they tried cam, they weren't good at it, or it wasn't for them, or it wasn't whatever. What are some of the tips like that you stick by to make a good show, where you go, it has to have this and whatever, or is it kind of free form for you?
I definitely go a little free form. I tend to get a little tipsy. That helps me feel a little bit more comfortable with myself. So I'll have a few drinks while I'm on cam. That's probably the only regular thing that you will find on my cam. But outside of that, just really do what you want to do. Don't do what you think somebody else wants you to do. Like, yes, of course, there are going to be times where big tippers come in and they're like, I want you to do this, this, and this. And it's not what you want to do at the moment. So, but you're going to take it because you want the money. But when you're going into camming and you don't have expectations like that from like huge tippers or anything like that, try and go in doing the things that you love, or wearing the outfits that you love, or doing your makeup in a slightly different way than you would have when you were at home.
Sure. Yeah, I think passion really shows through, and it's funny that I asked you if there was a formula, and you said it was a little more freeform, and you were one of like the most successful cam girls, so that's the right formula. When I talk about podcasting, you know, they tell you stick to an hour and do this and do that. And then you look and you go, well, the most successful podcaster in the world does 3-hour shows with totally random people. And I think the reason people like Joe Rogan or whoever else so much, and people can have their own opinions, but there's no getting around the fact that he is very successful, but it seems like he's generally interested in whatever's going on. He's not slogging through the day and just kind of, yeah, go ahead, say what you're doing. To me, it would feel like that's the way to have a successful room is, yes, you know, be happy or be, you know, excited to be there. Maybe not happy, but excited to be there. Do you ever have days when it just isn't clicking for you and you are going to go in your room?
Everybody is going to have those days. Everybody. There is nobody, it doesn't matter how successful you are. And I like to believe that I've accomplished a lot in my career, but like there are still days that I get online and I'm like dragging these people through the mud to get them to tip me 10 tokens. Oof. Yeah. And then there are other days where I go in and people will tip me $77 to take a shot. So
pretty good. I'd be real fucking drunk if that was the offer. What do you have a regular schedule you keep to?
Yeah, I typically do Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Fridays are an every other kind of thing for me, an every other week kind of thing.
Okay. All right. Do you ever do special events for like holidays and stuff like that?
I actually do special events for a website called ePlay. So those I'll do special video game website or video game nights. I'll do horror games typically, like we did Until Dawn. We did The Quarry. We did all the Dark Anthology games. I'm currently playing Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Okay. Solid.
So yeah. And then for birthdays, typically I will ask somebody like what movie they want to watch or what cosplay they want to do, and then try that out. Like the most recent one I did was Talladega Nights, and I did a whole NASCAR look.
That's funny. That's cute. Yeah. That, by the way, guys out there, which, hey, totally, you know, that's great. But like, if we have a gorgeous girl in front of us, let's pick something different, like Tomb Raider or striptease or something like that. Maybe not something where we're slapping Wonder Bread logos all over her. Just a suggestion. I don't know. I'm a pig. Okay. So would you say keeping to a consistent schedule? Like, do you have regulars that come in?
Yes, I definitely have regulars, and they work like a regular schedule. Like I'll typically get online around 9:00 at night, and then I'll typically work until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. If I get online on a Friday though, it'll be later because most people are going out, doing things, and then coming home and wanting to hang out.
That's so, yeah, I've never, again, cam hasn't been my thing. Nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's never been my personal thing, and I enjoy pornography in many different forms. But it's so cool that these guys have a place to go to see somebody they're interested in, and it's like it becomes a hang, it almost feels like, right?
Yes, it's very much a community feel. And there are definitely girls who do not foster that community vibe, and that is not their cup of tea, and I totally respect the shit out of it. But for me, I prefer like a community feel to my room.
But respected, obviously, yes. And I always say, as long as there's no kids or dogs in the room, I don't care what anyone does with their, you know, anything at all. Totally fine with it. Keep it legal and we're all good. But I mean, when you see somebody who doesn't engage that community, do you feel like, oh shit, you could be so much more successful if you do?
No,
No.
because a lot of the people that I'll see that have that are very successful.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
And I
fair enough.
try not to look at there when I was younger, I would watch a lot of cams and I would take what they were doing and then compare it to, oh, I don't do this enough. I should do this more. They're making more money than me, or they're making less money than me. So what's the point of getting online? Because there's not going to be any money to be made. So that happened a lot in the beginning of my career.
I gotcha.
So I try not to like get online and watch other girls unless they're my friends. And then I'm just like, yeah, take your fucking titties out, bitch. Like, I am definitely the person in the room that's like, yes, yes, show me your ass. I want to see it.
How does it work? Do you go in through another account, or can you log in through your, like, do they see DahliaIsDopey just came in my room? Whoa,
Yes.
shit.
I stay on my own account because the way my free cams works and a lot of sites work is you can block models from coming into your rooms. And a lot of models who maybe don't have the right etiquette, I would say it's a very rude thing to do. A lot of models will go into other girls' rooms and then message their tippers and try to lure their tippers away. I am very content and very safe in my tippers. So like I allow models to come into my room and a lot of other models will allow it, but they can also allow like friends. So if it's like, say my best friend, Neko Bean XO, she is amazing and she's so funny and she's so fun to like watch all the time. So I'll get offline and be like, you know what? I want to go watch my bestie pop her pussy for 20 minutes. Let's go. Or just want to listen to some good EDM, actually, to be honest. Sure. She's over there DJing. So, but I'll go in under my name because I want people to feel comfortable if they're like, you know, I don't want you in my room.
Sure.
They don't have to worry that there is somebody under the name like Go Harder 9234, and then they're going to figure out at some point that that's a model that maybe they respect me and it was an off night for them and they don't want to think about like, well, what night was she in there? Because I'll get inside my head sometimes with models. Like I'll be like, oh, night. Like if somebody comes up to me in an event and they're saying, oh, I watch your cam all the time, and they don't come under their name, I'm like, oh, well, fuck, when did you see me? Like, was I sitting on a pie at the time? Was I playing a video game like way too intensely into like World of Warcraft and screaming at like my customers at the same time? Like just being like, why aren't you fucking healing me?
You know what though? I mean, etiquette wise, you seem like you're like the moral authority on that in a good way. Like you explained to me that etiquette. I never even considered that. So even if you did go in through a pseudonym, a different login, whatever, it seems like you wouldn't be doing the wrong thing. But it's so cool that you like stick to it. You're like, these are kind of the unwritten rules and this is what we do. And
yeah, I never want to give anybody any anxiety. Like I'm so nervous meeting other models, even like people I know or I have, maybe not cammed with, but seen on cam or talked to on the internet. I'm so nervous around people that that's all I can think about is somebody just sitting there being like, oh, did she see me on like a bad night?
I have absolutely done some interviews where I go, if I see them at Exotica, I am not going to meet that person because I feel bad. I gave them such a bad interview. So hopefully this one is not that. I want to talk more about camming, obviously, but I have a comparison. I want to see if it's an accurate one when we come back. We're going to take a break. My guest, DahliaIsDopey. I need to ask the meaning behind that name because I think Dahlia is hilarious and I think Dahlia is gorgeous and I think you should check out Dahlia's My Free Cams at DahliaIsDopey. Also, I was going to plug this. Obviously, links are in the episode description, but her OnlyFans, I went to go check it and I was like, oh, let's go see. sign up for it, but just know she doesn't have that much on there. It's only 5,000 pieces of media, which it's like, that's good. Sign up for it today, and in about a year, you'll probably finish getting through all of that. Links to everything in the episode description. We're going to be right back after this.
Do you have that gotta finish feeling that just won't quit? Would Mistress be disappointed in the seed you've spilled? Now might be the time to try Goontrex. Goontrex, the first clinically tested YWF2 ejaculate inhibitor, allows mommy's pay pigs to pound all day without the complications of post-nut clarity.
Side effects include loss of income, loss of home, loss of family, backed up prostate, homicidal rage, and dry basketball shorts.
So if you're a quick shooter with a family that you're ready to ignore, talk to your doctor and see if Goontrex is right for you. Goontrex. Keep it in all night and get back to gooning for a goddess. Brought to you by YourWorstFriend.com.
And we're back with my guest, Dahlia is Dopey. I'm going to play a little game for you, and then with you, whatever. And then I have some questions. So this is the first time I'm playing this. It's called Strip Trivia. It's not very shrouded in mystery what's going to happen in this game. So I'm going to ask you 10 questions about a topic you're a fan of. And today's topic is horror movies, okay? A correct answer gets you a point with no real-world redeemable value whatsoever. It's like less than Chuck E. Cheese money if you get points on this, okay? If you answer incorrectly, unfortunately, you are going to have to remove a piece of your clothing. Now, due to the time of the year and the sanctity of the game, if you're fully nude and still answering questions incorrectly, I'm going to have to ask you to go full Hellraiser and start pulling skin off. I just want you to respect the game, that's all. Are you ready to play Strip Trivia?
I am ready.
Okay. Question number 1. What is the name of the hotel that Jack Torrance is hired to care for in The Shining?
The Overlook Hotel.
Okay, these are going to get tougher, people. Just so you know, I got to progress it up. Otherwise, her PR agent's yelling. Her PR agent's yelling like, you made her take her fucking clothes off? And it's just a terrible situation. We don't want to do that anymore. Question number 2. Who plays Norman Bates in the original Psycho?
Anthony Perkins.
And I think we were saying he off air, his son directed. Do you have it in front of you?
His son is the director of Longlegs.
Interesting. My friend just saw it, said it was great. Haven't gotten a chance to yet. Have you?
I have not seen it yet, but I've heard nothing but spectacular things about it. As long as you're, from what I understand, it's like a serial killer thriller. It's not like a jump scare.
It's not a jump scare, but I have heard this little paranormal in there, just so you know. Yeah.
And we got Nick Cage, which is paranormal in itself.
Number 3, 1922's Nosferatu is an unofficial adaptation of which vampire book?
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I never read Dracula, did you?
Yes, I did in school. They made us read it.
Really? See, I had a teacher who tried to make us read 1984, which I think I would really love, but she was a fucking bitch. So I specifically went out of my way not to read that book.
I've had teachers like that.
Sure. Weird. Did you go to school in Transylvania? Why were you asked to read Dracula in school?
I don't know. I think it was like a Halloween thing.
That's a big fucking book for Halloween, though. What were you guys doing? Banging through books once a week?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Number 4, what is the name of the pop-up book that Samuel reads in The Babadook?
Mr. Babadook. I actually have a copy of a first printing.
Interesting. They made a book at I did not know that.
They made the pop-up book from the movie.
All right. Head into eBay after this one to pick that up. This one's going to get her. She will not know this one. Okay, so get ready, folks. Titties is coming out. In which state does 1968's Night of the Living Dead take place?
Pennsylvania.
I will be honest with you. You are right on that because I'm reading it. I would have had no idea where that fucking took place. My wife's mother's name is Barbara and her mother's name is Barbara. So we always quote, "They're coming to get you, Barbara," which is from that movie. Number 6, actually one of my favorite horror movies. In what city does 1992's Candyman take place?
Chicago.
Yeah. Yep. The something Greens projects, I believe.
Cabrini Green.
Cabrini Greens. Yep. All right. Fuck, this is an easy one. In the ring, how long do people have to live after watching the videotape?
I knew that as soon as you said people live. I was like 7 days.
So I'll let the audience be the call. She held up 2 thumbs in there. I think she was saying 5 days technically. So if you want to see her naked, I can't convince her on this show, but you're definitely going to want to head to her My Free Cams at DahliaIsDopey or her OnlyFans at DahliaIsDopey. One of my favorite movies in the last few years as well, which maybe I'll ask you some stuff like that. At some point, I have to talk about sex. That's just kind of the nature of the business, but I want to talk to you about everything else instead. What kind of allergy does the little girl Charlie have in Hereditary?
Oh, peanuts. I know you said that that's one of your favorite movies, but that is like the movie that I hate the most in recent years that has come out and gotten very popular. And I was so mad that this girl could not just not eat fucking peanuts.
Well, she was compelled by payment.
I don't care. She just could not stop eating peanuts.
We'll talk about it. We're going to dive into movies in a second. Let's do, how about number 9? How many killers are in The Strangers?
3.
One of my wife's favorite movies, The Killers. That's correct. 3.
Yes.
I like it. I don't love them though, personally.
I didn't see the new one, so I was scared that you were going to hold me to the new one because I think the new one has a bunch of new killers.
Really interesting. I definitely watched. Okay, I watched the second one, which was also pretty good.
Pray at Night. That soundtrack was so good.
This is how much she loves horror movies. She's like, the soundtrack was banging. I was hiding under a blanket the entire time, which I'll tell you, the scariest movie I've seen in the last 15 years, and you're going to disagree and rip me to shreds. But last question, little bit of a trick question, and you'll get the reference too.
Okay.
Who's the killer in Friday the 13th?
Mama Voorhees.
You don't want to scream Jason Voorhees while I'm on the other end of the phone going, wrong.
I missed it. I should have.
Sure. Well, she went 10 for 10. We got a bounce out of it, so I'm going to just shut the fuck up and be happy with it.
Yeah, I was like, wait,
All right. My favorite scary movie for about 98% of it until the very end, and then there's a little bit of good at the end that I really like. It's a recent one. I'm saying my favorite horror movie recently.
Okay.
It's Insidious. I really loved Insidious, and I was so creeped. My wife in the movie theater was like, hey, you're squeezing my hand like real hard. I'm a big fucking dude. It's crazy that I was doing that. But just the tenseness of that movie and the strings. Did you like Insidious? What is your favorite
loved all
movie?
the Insidious
Me
movies.
too. Yes.
I did think that the newest one kind of it slacked a little. It wasn't as good as the first 4, but like if you've got 4 good fucking movies out of a series, that's enough. That's like Chucky status.
100%. The new one, you're right, not as good. There is that one great scene. Do you remember when he's taping the shit to the windows and then something runs at the window when he like lifts a thing or something?
Yes.
That one got me. That one I had to go back and go, I didn't see that coming. Holy shit. But yeah, that first movie. Now, why does Hereditary bother you? Is it just the little girl? So
it's the acting in it. The dad has an accent for like half the movie.
That's his real accent.
Well, then why is he in and out of it for like half the movie? He's like Irish for half the movie, and then he's not. Like, you see this, there was no police. No police showed up in this movie at any point, even though he left his sisters like dead body in the back of the car. And then at one point, the dad starts yelling at the mom for yelling at the son. And I was just so enraged. Like, I was just like, how dare you? He left your daughter's dead body in the back of the car for her to find. Like, how dare you? And then there's another part where they figure out that there's like been a dead body in their attic for weeks and nobody has smelt it. And I was fucking infuriated again.
Okay. I gotta pause here though. You have laid out in the same way my friend lays out, I couldn't suspend disbelief for this. The end result, spoiler alert, if people haven't seen Hereditary, go watch it. It's actually pretty good. Though I had an annoying experience in theater I'll tell you about. The end result is a demon is taking over a boy's body after his mother cuts her own head off with a piano wire. We have to suspend disbelief totally. Like, no cops show up. I go, you know what? Maybe Payman made the cops not show up. Or no smell in the attic. Maybe Payman made it so it didn't stink.
They
Who
also
knows?
killed the dog for no reason in that movie. They
Was
had
it-
already killed the mom, killed the dad, taken over everything, and then they killed the dog. I totally respect everybody who likes this movie.
Sure.
I understand that it is elevated horror and that it's really good. It's the same as like people who tell me they don't like the Babadook. I love the Babadook. I think that little kid is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, the idea that I could have a child one day and he's building weapons and screaming in the back of the car and bringing forth like all of the anxiety that he does. Like, I completely get that that Hereditary is a great movie. But for me, it's like the whole time I watched it, like I was just in the theater, like
Yeah.
where the fuck are the cops? Where are the cops right now?
That was Insidious to me, except I loved Insidious. And then when they start showing the red guy too much at the end of the first one, I'm like, hey, hide him a little more. Like, you've never seen Jaws? Come on now. We're just going to show it a little bit.
Did you know that the man who wrote Jaws actually felt really bad about writing and demonizing like sharks? So like that it got so popular that he actually spent like the rest of his life doing like shark preservation.
I did not know that. Really?
Yep.
Interesting. How about the other Ari Aster movie? Do you like Midsummer or no?
I was not a huge. I like Midsummer better than I like
Really?
Hereditary.
Yeah.
But because I can relate to that girl having fucking panic attacks the entire movie, like the first time I watched it, I was like, this is me, like calling my significant other too much, crying, not like being on anti-anxiety medication. Like at the time, like I was just like, this is me. And then you see, but when I left that movie, one thing I like is that movie's entire plot is fuck boys get what fuck boys get.
I thought the same thing. Yeah. I was like, all these dudes are obnoxious. The anxiety, I felt so sad. I don't know. I've been with my wife since I was 19, so we've been together a long time now, right? And I didn't have a lot of bad relationships and this and that, whatever. So when I saw how he was kind of like abandoning her at that time or trying to or attempting to, I was like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit. Get him out of here. Who fucking needs this? Then He gets his at the end and I was like, oh, that's good. This is nice. I like
Yes,
this.
it ends. It didn't have enough scare for me.
Sure.
I wanted a little bit more scare, but it was beautifully shot.
Yes.
The acting was amazing. Everything else about that movie is like very, very good. It's not one of my favorites because I think I relate to it a little too hard. Like I'm just like this poor, I went to Sweden and I hated being in Sweden. So like, I get it. I get how this girl felt.
What are some of your favorite horror movies then?
I'm an oldie kind of girl. So like I'm a Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is actually my favorite of all of them. Even considering the first one, that's Dream Masters.
Okay.
Dream Warriors. Sorry, Dream Warriors. Ooh, somebody's Somebody's gonna come get me for that.
Someone's losing it right now. Someone's going, Dream Warriors.
She doesn't know horror at all.
I was going to say Dream Warriors, and I was like, you have no fucking idea if that's right. So just shut up. And I went, all right, that's smart. There you go.
Get Out is one of my favorites.
Get Out, I think. I apologize. Go ahead. I'm talking all over
I'm
you.
sorry.
No. No one's here for me. They're here for you. So if you ever feel like I've had a couple times where I felt like I was talking, just keep going and I'll shut up eventually, please. Get Out, I think, is the best done horror movie from beginning to end in terms of shooting and this and that in the last like 20-25 years.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Get Out.
I also really love It Follows, which is a longer, slower one. And that soundtrack, once again, that soundtrack slaps. Such a good soundtrack. They're actually making a sequel to it, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, it was a perfect movie. I don't know that it needed a sequel.
There was nothing I needed to change about it, but I'll take another movie if they follow the same kind of routine with it.
Not horror related, but I feel the same way about Joker too. I don't know if I need another one. I loved the first one. It never hurts it for me. You know how people say, like, don't do that, it'll ruin the first. Never does that to me. Make a shitty sequel and I can still love the first one if it's shitty.
I watched Hocus Pocus 2, and if I can get through Hocus Pocus 2 and still love Hocus Pocus 1, then anybody else can shut the hell up about that.
Exactly. Yes, I agree.
Does not ruin it.
No. So you're a classic girl. You're more like my wife. I fell asleep watching The Exorcist on the couch with my wife. Boring. I just found it a little slow. I went to film school too, by the way.
It is a little slow.
Thank you.
Slow.
Yes.
It is slow. It takes a long time to get into. I'll fall asleep and then restart The Exorcist. I've had to watch The Exorcist in like 3 parts before just because like you fall asleep.
Yeah.
But I do love The Omen, like the original Omen from the 70s and Phantasm.
My wife loves Phantasm too. Is that the tall man?
Yes, that's the tall man. Usually people don't know that. They're like, I don't know what the fuck Phantasm is.
I get it. It's the silver balls, right? And they fly and whatever. Yeah, film school. That's what I paid $40,000 for.
Oh, I have one of those silver balls, and it's not within grabbing.
It's okay. You don't have to grab it. You're totally
I just
cool.
got really excited.
I understand. Yeah, my wife loves Phantasm. Absolutely loves Phantasm. So let me try and recenter myself because I'll just talk to you about movies all fucking day. But what is your favorite character to cosplay then? Favorite horror character, let's say that.
So my favorite one that I've done so far is Pennywise.
Sure. Yep. My favorite one as well.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite one. Something that I'm looking forward to. I'm going to do a new Scream one. I did a Scream one once upon a time, but I'm going to do a sexy Scream next time. So
have you ever done a famous victim?
I did do a Final Girl series where it starts off and it's like camp shots. It's just like very like campy shots, but it's from Camp Crystal Lake. And then by the end, I'm like covered in dirt. And yes, so that's the only time that's not the only time. I also did Freddy Krueger and Nancy, but my best friend did Freddy in that one, and I did Nancy.
Okay. All right. You know what I would want to see, which would be tough. You'd need a wig probably and stuff like that. I want to see a Drew Barrymore at the beginning of Scream cosplay. But
that would be so good.
Right. And you got to have like the knife in, but then I worry, like, I don't know what sites you can post that on. When you do horror stuff, do you have to leave blood out or anything like that? Okay.
Most sites do not allow blood or knife play or anything like that. So you can't even really have like a fake knife or anything like that.
I do a separate show where I interview new upcoming girls who are trying to break into the industry, and I try and use my audience to get a little exposure for them. And one girl's name was Cat Knife, and I'm like, I can't post this anywhere. Like, they're just not going to accept it anywhere.
You're like, I'm trying, but
I just know. I apologize. You're gorgeous. I just can't help you with this. We're going to take one more break. We'll come back with one more game. And I want to talk more about some of the content, where you see yourself going in this industry, how far you want to stretch it out to, and if there's anything else coming up for you. So my guest today, DahliaIsDopey. I still have to ask her about the name. You can find her on My Free Cams and OnlyFans at DahliaIsDopey. Links to everything in the episode description. We'll be right back.
Tuesday. This Tuesday, come on down to the YourWorstFriend.com arena and see Glam Slam. Come see all of your favorites, including Pinealius, Thyrulium, and Pancreosa. What happens when Ovarium leaves her homeworld to clash with the beast himself, Testosaurus Sex? Go to YourWorstFriend.com now for tickets.
And we're back with my guest, DahliaIsDopey. You can find her on My Free Cams and OnlyFans at DahliaIsDopey. Dahlia, the name. Again, there are so many different things where I could say Dahlia is this, Dahlia is hot, Dahlia has great hair, Dahlia is really smart, Dahlia knows a lot about movies. Why is Dahlia dopey?
So I was originally Dahlia Lux with 3 X's, and that was during a period of time where it was really popular to have like a first and a last name in porn versus,
Michelle.
like a username.
Yeah. Oh, a username. Okay. Sorry. I thought we were going with one name things. Yeah.
Yeah. But originally I had it as Dahlia Does Dope. Okay. And then My Free Cams was like, by the way, we don't appreciate that. And I was like, is dopey?
There you go. Okay.
Because I smoke a lot of weed on your website.
Are they cool with that? So you can't swing a knife around, but you can smoke weed on there?
Yes. I mean, you're not really you're not supposed to yell out like, this is marijuana. Watch me. Watch me. Watch me. But they don't mind. It's the same as like drinking, as long as like you're of age.
Fair enough. Can we play one more game?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. We're going to play a game called Ladies' Choice. Ladies' Choice is a game where you, the world famous porn star, get to build your own celebrity fantasy gangbang. Okay, here's the catch. You don't actually get to pick the individuals involved. All right. Okay. You're not seeing them, but I'm spinning these wheels to determine the participants in your fantasy celebrity gangbang. Now, traditionally, I do an athlete, an artist, and I'm going to let you in, not an artist, an actor, an athlete, an actor, and a wild card. Now, here's the secret. The wild card's always a serial killer. And it's really unfortunate because these girls think they're going to have some great fun time. And then I hit them at the end with, where would you take the serial killer? And it's odd hearing a beautiful girl who's in Playboy Netherlands or something going, I guess I would blow Charles Manson. But I don't have that for you today. I have 3 different celebrities. And if you would please indulge me, let me spin these wheels and figure out who we're going to pick today.
As long as we don't get Jared Leto.
Jared who?
Jared Leto.
Why? You don't like Jared Leto?
Oh, no.
He's a douche,
we
right?
could go all day. He's a
douche. Damaged on the head in Suicide Squad. It sucked.
It's him. Terrible. My great hates are Jared Leto and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Ooh, old ladies used to say I look like Jake Gyllenhaal when I was thinner. It's because I have really bright blue eyes and I have good teeth. And everything else is a fucking wreck.
You are allowed to look like Jake Gyllenhaal. You're just not allowed to act poorly like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Fair enough. Okay, let's make sure we don't get Jake Gyllenhaal or Jared Leto on your wheel.
Let's play Ladies' Choice. Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers.
In honor of my Halloween episode, I'm going to ask you to construct a celebrity fantasy gangbang using the big 3. Now, the goal of this would be choosing who goes where. Obviously, in a standard gangbang, there'd be alternating and stuff like that. By the way, I want to talk about your content in a second and dive into that because you have some really fun, interesting stuff on there, especially on your many vids, which link in the episode description. Dahlia, you have 3 spots where these gentlemen could go. Would you mind placing these gentlemen for me?
So I'm going to stick Michael Myers in my face.
Okay, fair. By the way, I don't know if that's the correct, like, I'm going to stick him there because it almost sounds like you're giving him something unfortunate to do. It's like, oh, he only gets blown by DahliaIsDopey. Oh, what a fucking poor guy. But I understand Michael Myers. Is there a rationale behind it at all?
The other 2 have all kinds of scarring, so I feel like their penises going down my throat might like make me choke a little bit more.
Okay.
And since they're all murderers, they're probably not going to be very considerate of it.
That's a fair point. The consideration they have for the performer is not often enough looked at and considered when I play this game with people. Most of the time I get, well, he's a serial killer, so he's a small dick. Yeah, except for the one time someone got Ed Kemper, and I was like, oh, he was 6'8" or something, so theory's not going to work there. So we have Michael Myers. Who do we want to go with for number 2?
Okay, number 2, I'm going to let Freddy Krueger have sex with me because there was a movie called Dream Child.
Okay.
And it would be really cool to get magic powers from Freddy Krueger's like magic seed.
Was that? I never saw that movie. Which one was that? 6, 5?
That was 5. Yes, that was 5.
Okay. Did he give people powers by having sex with them in that movie, or are you just using this concept? Okay, but this
just using the concept, just going along with it.
Sure.
In the movie, he is actually trying to possess the child of one of the teenagers that he's chasing around.
Okay, all right.
He's pregnant, so he's trying to like possess her child and take over.
Fair enough. So then, we got Jason Voorhees anal. I mean, that seems it might be rough. I don't know that he has a lot of rhythm.
I'm imagining that he's just kind of like on his back, just like laying down.
Okay.
And as long as we keep him away, like if he like acts up, we just like throw water at him. We spray him like a cat.
Okay. All right. I think that's fair. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DahliaIsDopey's Ladies' Choice. Dahlia, let's talk about some of your content because again, I have a tough time. I normally do interviews with mainstream performers, so I can go like, what's it like being on set? What's it like doing this and that? Did you ever have any desire to shoot like mainstream scenes? Have you shot any mainstream scenes?
Never shot any mainstream scenes.
So is that just something that doesn't entice you?
I've never been asked. I've never been asked by somebody that wasn't going to murder me.
Really? That's shocking to me. You're winning. You're like nominated for awards. You're fucking crushing, and no one has ever even like reached out.
Nope, not outside of, a random scary guy who has no references.
That's terrifying. How has it been mutual then? Have you never reached out? Or are you going to tell me like in my mailbox there's like 12 emails to Brazzers and they just never responded?
No, I've never reached out either. Mostly because they want to do a lot of boy girl content, and that's not really like my super cup of tea. I would rather do like girl and solo, but typically companies will require you to do all 3.
Really?
Or at least do boy girl. Or at least that's like what I've been told by other people. So I never really reached out to try it.
Even on like a lesbian specific website, they would, I guess they have umbrella sites.
I didn't think about it this hard.
Okay, all right. But it seems like, look, you've been doing this, you said 14 years? 12
16.
years? 16 years, okay? This is obviously a job for you, and you're doing a great job doing it. Did you never think like, I wonder if I could take this even to the next level by doing any of that mainstream shoots or anything? Or has the boy girl thing just always turned you off to it?
I've been recommended it multiple times, so I acknowledge that it probably would take my career to the next level. But yeah, the boy girl and just the idea that something that I could have like a negative experience when I've had such amazing positive experiences in this industry. I hate the idea of like possibly having a negative experience. And like I said, I'm also very shy and very like nervous when it comes to people. So the idea of like showing up and just being like, well, here's 10 people filming me get railed out today. Let's go.
Sounds great to me. I saw you when you said it there. Your anxiety was talking towards the end there, right? Like the experience could go negative. And I do the same thing. I'm like, this could go totally fucking wrong. We shouldn't do this. And it's like, we just want to go to the grocery store. I'm like, yeah, what if there's a car crash? What if there's whatever? It's a lot. So how do you balance that and go like, okay, I have anxiety, so I'm going to hop on the webcam and be naked or show off or do whatever to X amount of people? Is it just because they're not in the room with you?
I think because they're not in the room with me, and also because I will drink a little bit.
Okay, fair.
I'll have a few shots and then be like, yeah, you know what?
You do produce a lot of content, though. Is a lot of your stuff on... Now, again, I don't know how it necessarily works with MyFreeCams. Can people purchase things from your MyFreeCams account?
Yes, there's actually a sister site to it called MFC Share, which is linked directly to your profile, and you can find content. I have less content on there than I do on ManyVids. ManyVids is my main site.
Sure.
Where the most content would be. But you can buy it, like if you were to stop by and hang out and say, because a lot of the time I'm not doing sexual things online.
Really?
A lot of the times I'm playing video games, or I'm dancing to like Disney songs, or I'm trying on like costumes and things of that nature. So at those moments, somebody can be like, all right, you know what? I want to watch her fuck herself. Like, here we go. Click. Like, just click, click, click. All right, it's bought. So MyFreeCams tries to make it as easy as possible for you.
So how often do you make content outside of your camming? Like, how often do you update things like your ManyVids? Or it looks like on the tip of your mouth you're about to say, I need to update it more.
Yes.
You have a ton of content, though. You really do.
I do.
Do you just feel like you have to constantly be working, or?
I just feel like I haven't put out new stuff in a minute. Like, I was really consistent for a long time, and then I kind of took a break from it a little bit. I'm actually going to go film some content after we finish this, because I like did my hair and makeup, and I was like, all right, here we go. Let's put stuff in my holes.
What kind? Okay, all right. You mentioned a pie earlier, I believe. That reminds me of a scene in Better Call Saul that I really enjoyed. What is some of the odd stuff you like to do? Quote unquote odd. Obviously, it's probably not odd to you.
So I did a tip war against somebody, and we both had to sit on pies and like pie ourselves. I've had a cake fight with somebody, like a straight up like cake batter and cake, like basically punching each other in the face, like with the cake. Because you start off like all cute and you're like, oh, this is so sexy and so nice. And then somebody like just kind of mashes your face a little bit and you're like, oh, okay, bitch, this is what we're doing right now.
This is fun until I get a little bit injured. Then I'm like, oh, no. We're not going to fuck around with this.
I don't do this, but there's this famous guy on MFC that shows up that likes girls to put cheese slices on their body, just slices of cheese.
Okay, why? Kraft singles? Do we have a specific type of cheese?
Kraft singles. Okay. Kraft fucking singles.
Man, just the most white trash cheese too. That's crazy. Why do that? Why not go with a little more, a provolone or a fresh mozzarella?
If somebody was like, if get a slice of fresh mozzarella, a little balsamic, a little bit of olive oil, make yourself into a caprese for me, I might do it. That sounds like fun to me.
I make a killer fucking caprese, by the way. I really do, and they're wonderful. It's one of the only
Have
things
you
I
ever
make.
tried it with peaches?
I have not. You know what? I'm not a big fruit guy. Like fruit and salad, I'm not a big that. So I don't know that I'd like it with peaches.
But
Okay.
it's worth a try one day. If you ever just take like a slice instead of the tomato, because it adds a little sweetness to it, but not overpowering.
Okay, fair. Well, that was our caprese sandwich break that I do every episode. So, okay. It seems like you really, when I said before you built a community and this and that, I was still under the impression, because all due respect to you, you are a phenomenal performer. Like I said, cam, not necessarily my thing. So I had never been into your room before, but it sounds like you say you do all this stuff that's non-nude and everything else. Has there ever, obviously you're probably on Twitch, right?
Yes, I have a Twitch. I'm actually going to TwitchCon, which will have passed when this airs.
And I'm sure it was wonderful and you had a great time and someone offered you a big contract. Maybe, I don't know. I fucking hope so.
Yeah,
But-
I hope so too. I'm coming back on the show at that point with my big contract and just waving it.
It'll be really nice. Yeah. 25
You brought this into my life.
25 girl scenes, contract laid out. That would be nice, right?
Yes, I would love that. If any company out there just needs somebody to do a bunch of girl scenes, I'm your woman. Let's go.
Let's cut the clip. How about mainstream performers? Are there any that you would die to work with? Not die, literally. I don't know why I said it like that.
Little Puck.
Little Puck. Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
They are an amazing performer, and they make the highest quality of content, and she is gorgeous beyond belief.
I got to interview my dream guest, one of my dream guests, and I think you'd be good with her too. I love Charlotte Sart. You know her, Goth Charlotte?
Yeah. Oh my God, she's gorgeous.
Oh, she's gorgeous. And you know what's so, I'll tell you this sweet story to wrap this up real quick. So one time I was at work and I was just bullshitting around on Instagram at my day job. And my friend Megan came over and I saw Goth Charlotte on there. And I go, look at this. Isn't this girl fucking gorgeous? Blah, 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 blah. And she goes, you understand why you find her attractive, right? And I was like, no. And I wasn't looking for an analysis of it either, Megan. But sure, go ahead. She looks just like my wife. And I thought that's such a sweet thing where I'm, pining over this porn star that I see on Instagram. But the fact of the matter is, it's just because she looks like my wife. And that's a nice
so
thing.
Sweet.
Yeah. Dahlia, we're going to wrap this one up. I'm in Salem right now, probably getting drunk at Far From the Tree. Have you ever been?
I did. I actually went a few years ago.
Interesting.
A tarot card reader told me that I was never going to have children and that I was going to be alone.
Well, did they put it that bluntly?
Yes.
Ooh, rude. What store was it at? Was it at Hex? Do you have any idea?
It was the main...
The main mall area?
No, it's like the tarot store. My best friend set up
Fair enough.
the session, but it's like the tarot store, like the witchcraft store of like downtown where they do all of the activities and stuff for Halloween.
Essex Street, maybe near the Elizabeth Montgomery statue.
Yes.
There you go. Yep. Love Salem. I go there every year. If anyone ever wants a guide to Salem, I have a PDF I can send you. Just reach out to me, folks. Dahlia, you've been a phenomenal guest today. I appreciate your time so much. If people want to find you, we're going to send them to My Free Cams to check out DahliaIsDopey, but also check out our OnlyFans. Go throw something on there. I understand. I have a lot of people that listen to me that do like the OnlyFans thing. So go sign up for it. Again, it's not like she has less than 5,000 pieces of content on there. I clicked it earlier because I had to see. It's a ton. you're really a lot of fun, and I can kind of understand why the community rallies behind you and shows up every X amount of time. And to me, it's not like some people might be like, oh, you go home and sign on to a chat room and blah, blah, blah after work. Yeah, but you go home and check your fantasy baseball or do some other bullshit. So whatever makes people happy. And I love that these people have a sense of community with you. I think that's an awesome thing. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight, Dahlia is Dopey. Happy Halloween to all of you. Make sure you scrutinize and rip apart Hereditary as it should be. Dahlia, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
We'll see you next week.